Donald Trump's fake peace summit with Vladimir Putin was a lot of things. It was humiliating, it was disgraceful, but it was also a distraction because ultimately Donald Trump is happy for us to talk about anything but his Jeffrey Epstein scandal. And too bad for Trump, an Obama post has us doing that again. Yes, our former president now has Donald Trump scrambling as his Epstein scandal is exploding again. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into how Barack Obama is once again causing Donald Trump problems in the Epstein department, I want to start with someone who has brutally called out who Donald Trump is ignoring more than anyone in this scandal as he tries to save himself, and that comes from Jamie Raskin right here.
Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of engaging in this child sex abuse and as part of this whole conspiracy and agreement, with Epstein. And it is the victims now, the survivors, whose interests and whose desires have got to be put first. They want to see the truth and the whole truth about the entire conspiracy come out, and they've got to be heard. But what we have is the Trump Justice Department organizing itself not around the interests of the survivors, the people who were victimized by Maxwell and Epstein, but rather organizing itself around protecting the perpetrators, despite everything they said during the campaign. I mean, they didn't promise, Ali, to throw 17 million people off of their Medicaid health care. They didn't promise to dismantle funding for anti-human trafficking in the State Department, in the Department of Justice, and throughout the government. But they
promised
did.
this.
The one thing they did promise was to release this file.
This has always been political exploitation. Donald Trump didn't care about justice. Donald Trump didn't care about truth. Donald Trump was exploiting the stories and the struggle, the pain felt by people who have had their lives ruined or ended by Jeffrey Epstein. That was the biggest admission to me that Donald Trump has made so far, saying that the business deals that Epstein made, taking a teenager from Trump, was the big issue that he had, that he was taking his staff, that it was a business falling out, not a personal one. Donald Trump doesn't care about anything else but his wealth and himself. That is it. He is a textbook narcissist and a pathological liar who will do anything to distract. And he went on record with that.
Remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold, hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate, just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly. But I want to thank...
Donald Trump has always tried to shift the blame. It's blame Obama, blame Obama, blame Obama, which is why it's so funny that that has come back to bite him. This connection that he has tried to make somehow with Barack Obama and Jeffrey Epstein, or saying that we need to investigate Barack Obama, it's just nonsensical. But it got even worse for Trump when a video was popping off on Twitter of Barack Obama hyping up the Texas Democrats, and something that a MAGA supporter had to say about it is blowing up in Donald Trump's face. I want to take a short look at that clip of Barack Obama and what MAGA has to say that's going so poorly for his Epstein scandal.
And I think we became a little bit complacent over the years. We assumed that things would continue to get better, that our democracy would become more inclusive, that it would become more fair, that we'd make it easier for people to vote rather than harder for people to vote, that the votes would be counted rather than suppressed. And what we forgot is that history doesn't always move in a straight line, and it's not always 2 steps forward and another 2 steps forward. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and a step back. And we're in a moment right now where not just gerrymandering, but efforts at voter suppression, efforts at questioning the results of elections.
So in response to that video of Barack Obama, a MAGA account wrote, Barack Obama appeared on a Zoom call with the FBI-identified pedophile symbols visible in the background. During the call, he joined Texas House Democrats in their fight against what they called an assault on democracy. and the MAGA account points out a vase or a bowl behind Barack Obama as their evidence for that. This then led to a mega viral tweet reigniting Donald Trump's Epstein controversy that wrote, "Obama has pottery with triangles, gotta be a pedophile." Trump writes Jeffrey Epstein a birthday skit about the naughty web of secrets they have, probably nothing. That is just a perfect encapsulation of the cognitive dissonance of MAGA. And I love that that post, in a time in which we were really talking about anything but Epstein for a couple of days, I read all y'all's comments and I have seen so many, this is a distraction from Epstein. Trump doesn't want us talking about Epstein. We need to focus on Epstein again. And I completely agree. The media has given some serious time off from talking about Donald Trump's cover-up of his relationship and crimes with Jeffrey Epstein, which is why it is so funny that a MAGA conspiracy theorist doing what Donald Trump told them to do, try to deflect, distract, and lie about Barack Obama, has reignited conversation around this scandal, at least on social media. It is just so funny. But that is the disconnect in these people's minds. And that's really what they want. Like, they want to look at obscure symbols on a bowl. It was like a bowl. It was a clay bowl behind Barack Obama. And they're like, oh, that's got to be it. That's conclusive evidence. Oh, the FBI says Donald Trump's in the file. Oh, that means nothing. And it goes back to the thing that Trump always says about the Epstein files, where he's like, well, we can't share them because then there would be no context. Like, you could be mentioned with Jeffrey Epstein, but there's no context. It's like, the context is in the file, man. That's what the file is. It's a boatload of context. There's a lot of pictures of you with Epstein. The context of those photos is in the files. They detail your crimes together. And so if you want transparency and you want context, release them. But that's not what Donald Trump wants. He wants to do what he's done throughout his entire presidency, which is rewrite history. It's what he did at the Smithsonian. It's what he did with the 1,500 cop-beating insurrectionists that he pardoned. It's what he did scratching out his name in the Epstein file, a Control-F deletion. That's what Donald Trump is doing right now. And it goes even deeper than just the file. It goes deeper than that. It's now with Ghislaine Maxwell. And Lawrence O'Donnell was giving some important updates on that in this clip right here.
Congressman Raskin has sent a letter co-signed by Democratic members of the House Judiciary Committee to Donald Trump's Attorney General and to Donald Trump's Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons about their decision to transfer Donald Trump's old friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, to what has been called one of the best jails in America to serve time. Congressman Raskin's letter suggests that the prison transfer was done, quote, to shield the president. Congressman Raskin's letter says, 2 weeks ago, you inexplicably transferred Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, from a federal correctional institution to a far preferable and relatively luxurious minimum security prison camp in Texas just 3 years into her 20-year sentence for sexually exploiting and abusing minor girls as young as 14. The transfer follows Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's private interviews of Ms. Maxwell, arranged after a firestorm of media attention about the Department of Justice's refusal to release the full Epstein files as originally demanded by President Donald Trump. These actions raise substantial concerns that the administration may now be attempting to tamper with a crucial witness, conceal President Trump's relationship with convicted sex offenders, and coax Ms. Maxwell into providing false or misleading testimony in order to protect the president. The Trump administration has engaged in a series of actions that create the strong appearance that it is attempting to cover up the full extent of the relationship between President Trump and Mr. Epstein. 71% of Americans think Donald Trump knew some or a lot about the sex crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein against children before the investigations into Jeffrey Epstein even began. Congressman Raskin's letter continues. During President Trump's first administration, federal prosecutors charged Ms. Maxwell with perjury, stating her willingness to brazenly lie under oath about her conduct strongly suggests her true motive has been and remains to avoid being held accountable for her crimes. The letter says this about Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, whose last job was Donald Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer. Quote, his actions raise staggering concerns about political conflicts of interest, witness tampering, and suborning of false testimony. And so has come to this in America. The top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee, well-versed in the law, a former law professor himself, suggests the possibility that Donald Trump's Deputy Attorney General, his former criminal defense lawyer, may have committed the federal crimes of, quote, witness tampering and suborning of false testimony. Congressman Raskin's letter says, less than a week after Mr. Blanche's meeting with Ms. Maxwell, Bureau of Prisons transferred her from a federal correctional institution in Tallahassee, Florida, to an all-woman minimum security prison camp in Bryan, Texas, which is listed as one of the best jails in America to serve time. The women incarcerated there, a population which includes a number of white-collar and celebrity inmates, reportedly enjoy a ton of freedom to interact with one another and have access to educational and social programs unavailable at higher security federal correctional institutions like the one Ms. Maxwell was committed to in Tallahassee.
The cover-up continues, and yet I don't hear a lot from the mainstream media. Now, going forward, I'd always like Lawrence O'Donnell's name to be absent when I disgrace the mainstream media, because he's been bang on with his analysis of Donald Trump's cognitive decline, bringing attention to Donald Trump's cover-up of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Lawrence has been killing it. But aside from that, the media's moved on. And I want to highlight another thing that Lawrence said. This is just my guy. When Donald Trump was asked about a meeting that J.D. Vance was having with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and the vice president's residence, he kind of just laughed it off and was like, it's not happening. And the media was like, okay, Donald. Follow-up questions? Are we aware of them? Truly. I don't know why we have given up on the follow-up question, pushing back, pressing for answers, really caring about your job, which, by the way, is still journalism. I know some of you are unaware of that, but it's still the job, still what you sign up to do when you're a journalist. So maybe get on that, because we're going to be holding people's feet to the fire every single day on this show, I promise you. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.